Hello and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be interviewing Core Ideas, aka Kevin. Go ahead and say hello and give an introduction of yourself as well.
Alrighty, hello everybody, my name's Kevin. I run the YouTube channel Core Ideas, and basically what I do is I try and go through media from my past and anything that I feel is worth talking about and see what it tries to say beneath the surface.
Alrighty then, Kevin. First question for you here is, when did you start YouTube?
I started doing YouTube videos roughly around the time that Machinima was really popular, because that's where I got my start. I did a lot of Machinima videos back in the day, and I was part of that machinima.com directors program. For a while there, that's pretty much all I did until about 2012 when I was in college. And that's when I got the username Core Ideas, because I was trying to do some slight comedic video essays that were just terrible. They're awful, man. They're horrible. That if that's why I keep the videos unlisted, so I just look at them and just cringe. But for the most part, I started doing this type of content, analytical content, back in 2012, and did some videos here and there, but it wasn't until 2017 that I decided to take it seriously and rebrand the channel and start over again.
I think I checked your about section and it actually said you created this channel last year.
Yeah, I think it was April of 2017 if I remember correctly, and so that makes it it was April 23rd, I think. So in just about a week or so, it'll be a year and a half since I started this channel.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind so far.
Yeah, so April of this upcoming year will be 2 years.
Yeah. Like, when you put it in that perspective, it really does kind of show how fast time flies.
Oh yeah, you fucking bet. Like, it's crazy how fast time goes. Like, you know what I've noticed about time is, like, when you're focused on time, it goes so slow. But when you're not focused on it, it literally, like, you could literally blink and 5 hours have gone by.
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand that, because where I work at now, I have an office job now compared to working retail before this, that certain days in retail, shit would be flying by because you have so many customers coming in, or you got a lot of things you got to do throughout the day. When in an office job, you're just kind of sitting there waiting for things to happen, and oh my god, it's just so slow.
Yeah, no, I bet. I mean, those 9 to 5 office jobs, yeah, they must be very slow and painful.
Yeah, they really are. I pretty much just think about what I'm going to try and work on the channel and trying to get some ideas while I'm there, scribble down some notes, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's how being a YouTuber goes. You gotta always think about your channel.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's insane how some people can balance it out pretty well until they become full-time. I think, I don't know if you know who he is, the YouTube channel Skill Up.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, for the longest time, if I remember correctly, he had a job while he was doing some of his longer form content, like his Warframe video and a couple other stuff, his Destiny 1 retrospective, and I respect anybody who can do YouTube on the side while still having a 9 to 5 job before they make it their full-time job, because the amount of stress that can be put on somebody trying to do YouTube content is pretty insane.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like, it's heavily underestimated how much shit goes into having a YouTube channel.
Oh, absolutely. Some people think that, and I think I've gone into conversations with Raycivic about this before, but basically that people don't look at the time it took to make a video. They see the time that the video actually is, like the length of that video. So they see like a 20-minute long video without understanding say if somebody does a video on The Witcher 3, that they have to maybe go through 1 or even 2 entire playthroughs of that game, which is probably about, if I remember correctly, like 40 to 60 hours per playthrough. Take notes.
Yeah, that game is so fucking long.
Yeah. They gotta take notes while they're doing it. They gotta go ahead and write the script, which itself could take days if they aren't going through a current writer's block. Then once they get the script written, they gotta record the audio, and that could take a couple sessions because nobody likes the sound of their own voice. And then you got the editing process after that, and audio editing itself is just a pain in the ass, so that takes a while. Then you got the visual side of things, and eventually once it's all done, that could be depending on how long you're doing it, like an entire week's worth of work in hours alone.
Yeah, no, it is quite the big boy job, especially your guys' kind of work. Video essays, those take a shitload of time, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, video essays take a little bit. I wouldn't say longer than most things because obviously people who review content or like video games and stuff, they obviously have to take notes and they have to go through that whole process. But in comparison to, say, I don't know, not to put anyone down, but maybe a Let's Play or something where it's more or less, playing the game and as you're talking and you got to do some video editing here and there to make things consistent. Compared to that, it definitely does take a little bit of time, which sucks because video essays have a bit of a bad rap.
Really?
It's a little weird. Basically, video essays have, obviously something becomes popular and people try and jump on the bandwagon. Video essays have gotten a bit of a bad reputation because of smaller channels that are trying to get up there, try to do their own stuff. And so, obviously mistakes are made. I've made a bunch of mistakes. God, no, I've made a bunch of mistakes in my old videos. And even in my last one, my Teen Titans one, I made a few mistakes. And that's something I got to work on. But for the most part, people don't like video essays because people can see them as pretentious or spreading misinformation or trying to seem smarter than they actually are. So they have a bit of a reputation for, at least that's what people think, of having that sort of stigma on it.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I know people like Clean Prince Gaming and guys like that taint the genre.
Oh god, because video essays didn't just die, they were murdered. Like he seems like a nice guy though, because I have talked to him before. When I first started my channel, he actually tried to hire the guy who did my intro and my outro.
Isn't that Sid?
Yep, Leonardo the Sid C. Great channel. Everybody go watch him. He's absolutely fantastic. Way better editor than I am. And Clean Prince Gaming, hit me up. Was like, hey, that intro's pretty cool. Who did it? I recommended Sid, and then apparently, Sid talked to him, and then nothing happened. But from what I talked to him, he seemed like a decent guy. It's just that, the content he makes, the thumbnails and the clickbait just can rub off on you sometimes. Like, it's just kind of like, because that's unfortunately the belly of the, that's unfortunately the negative part of YouTube sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like, his titles are amazing though. Like you said, like, I could just imagine right now, like, Fortnite didn't die; it was murdered or something like that.
I mean, that game is not dying. That game is not dying. It is not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, it's not. I was just kind of using it as an example of a good title. Like, I've seen a lot of people criticize him for his content not really being video essays per se, which I could agree with. I wouldn't call them video essays either.
Yeah, I guess it's this weird mishmash of he's doing content that's obviously trying to be informational, but it's also just from a lot of rehash of the information. Like when I think there was a couple series he did on The Division where it's like, oh, it didn't just die, it was murdered. Then, oh no, it's actually revived. Oh no, there's this issue, and it's just like, which is it? Is it dying? Is it dying? Is it, alive? Like, what is going on here? But again, I'm not hating on the guy, just saying that, like,
his content.
Exactly. I'm not even hating his content per se, because
just criticizing.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, like, as much as I want to be like, oh, hey, I take the moral high road, I don't use clickbait, I don't, misinterpret anything. I mean, I'm the one still struggling to get like 50K, and he's racking in the money. So it's like, when it's like that, it's like, I can't really hate him for taking the advantage of the system and everything. So it's that issue where it's like, you try to be consistent and do a good job, or you can put on some content pretty fast and get a good amount of money. So it's one or the other.
Holy shit, I've just checked out the man's channel, like his social blade, and dear God, I have an excellent title. Clean Prince Gaming didn't die, he was murdered.
Oh really? Is it getting bad?
Yeah, holy shit, like, oh my God, like, every day. This is all the way from September 15th, so nearly a month ago. Every day since that day, he's been in negative numbers, except for last Friday, October 5th, where he gained 24 subscribers.
Like, I don't like really to hear that, because I don't ever want a content creator to go downhill, basically. Even if the content, is, like we talked about, like, clickbaity and stuff like that. Because I always feel that somebody can turn themselves around. If I was judged on my previous content, oh boy. Like, oh boy, like, that would be so bad. So I always like when people turn themselves around. It's like, oh, hey, I'm gonna do better or something. But, I don't like really hearing that he's going downhill, because I want him to try and do better. But that is just how it goes. If you are clickbaity and you are misinterpreting a lot of things, and for a long enough time, people are gonna catch on and then just stop watching you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you remain stale and don't really improve in any way, yeah, people are gonna just fuck off,
Yeah, it's nature of YouTube. You gotta go with the flow, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, look at Leafy's here. God bless his heart. Rest in peace,
You're like, I don't know much about that guy, but from what I've heard, some nasty stuff going on. But again, nothing against the people, just what they put out from what I hear.
Well, no, Leafy's here is a shit person, in my opinion. But if you don't know enough about him, I guess you can't really criticize him that much.
Yeah, I can't really put my words to that, because then I'll just be a hypocrite.
But I mean, I never spoke to him in private, so I don't know. Because, like, a thing that I notice is that some people on YouTube reflect a very like, shit person, but, like, they're actually just genuinely nice people behind the scenes, not on YouTube.
It's always the issue of the persona you put up, basically. Like, everybody has a face that they use for whatever, whether it's talking to family members or for a job interview or for YouTube. Like, everybody's got a bit of a mask that they put up. And for YouTube, I think Lindsay Ellis did a video on that not too long ago about basically the disconnect between what people do on their YouTube videos versus who they actually are and stuff like that. I try to be pretty consistent. I try to be mostly who I am as I'm recording or as I am on social media or something. That way people don't get that impression that, say, I could be like really snarky in my videos or something, and then I'm actually really shy or something in person. But some people do have a persona that they put up because it just helps, and some people feel it's more natural when they're recording to do a certain voice or certain inflections. It just kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know why someone would want to play themselves up as an asshole on YouTube.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know that. I mean, sometimes it helps though. I mean, just sometimes assholes can really get some things done if they're using that persona for the right reasons, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. I guess people just like watching douchebags.
No comment on that. No comment on that.
I mean, like, some of the biggest fucking YouTubers, in my opinion, are just douchebags on YouTube, but I, of course, don't know any of them personally, so, they could be amazing people personally,
Yeah, but it's always, don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly, yeah.
That's how I try to live life, because anybody who listens or watches to my videos can think, man, this guy's a giant dork, and I absolutely am. Like, I absolutely am. And that's what I've tried to cultivate, the idea that the person who is talking to you in a video is the exact same person that's talking to you on social media. It's tough, but I try to do that.
Fully grown man makes a video essay on Teen Titans.
Yeah. Just full 25-year-old guy who tries to dig up stuff from his past because he doesn't want to look towards the future.
You have that inner child in you, and that's great.
I think everybody has that. It's just whether or not you're gonna tap into it for any sort of creative venture. I mean, how many times have you seen, fan art of, I don't know, Gundam or something like that? It's always there. Everybody has that inner child, and I think it's whether or not you use it for creative ventures or you use it to fuel some passion that you have, like a hobby or something. Everybody has it.
Yeah, and this Gundam thing that you mentioned, what is this? It's some sort of robot from what I looked up.
Oh yeah. Gundam, the series is a mecha anime series that has been around, I think since the late 70s, if I remember correctly. It's a massively important series in anime, but the one I grew up with and the one whose music I use in quite a few of my videos is called G Gundam. G Gundam is, how do I put it? It is cheesy, it is over the top, it is emotional, it is nonsensical, and I love every single minute of it. That series is just so near and dear to my heart that I am going to make a video on it down the line, because it does get a bit of a rightfully bad rap for being really dumb, and it is. It's really dumb.
Yeah, anime video essays coming soon to the Core Ideas YouTube channel.
I've actually done one, I think, on Dragon Ball. I don't know if I've done any others to my recollection, but I did do one on Dragon Ball. I was gonna do one. I'm actually not gonna say this one because I want this one to be kind of special. So I have done, anime in the past. It's just one that I feel the community is really, I wouldn't say nitpicky, but they're pretty watchful of what you say about an anime. Like like you say one wrong thing about an anime that you're talking about and you're gonna get crucified. So if I do an anime video, it's got to be on point. It's got to be, I got to get my facts and my details right.
Collab with Super Eye Patch Wolf.
That would be amazing. That would be. I'd probably go to him and be like, hey, like, is this right? Am I right? Like, I don't want to get crucified on the internet.
I don't really have an interest in his content because, like I said before we started, I don't really care for anime. So
yeah, and that's the beauty of YouTube, really. That if you don't like this guy's content, there's gonna be like 10 other guys that you can go and enjoy. So, and girls, hey, we're not judging here. So, so just you have tons of people to go and watch. If you want really long form, in depth gaming analysis, go watch Joseph Anderson. If you want, or even Racevic if you got like an hour to spare. If you want really in-depth like film analysis, you might go to Lindsay Ellis or Movies with Mikey. So you've got a good range of people you can go and talk to. That's why my channel, at least I try to, make it so, is kind of an all media channel, I guess you could say. Like I talk about movies, games, TV shows. I might even go into graphic novels if I have the time, just because I don't see a point in limiting myself to just one sort of content, but it does get a little annoying sometimes. There are some consequences to doing that.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I guess video essay channels, they want to like conquer as many markets as they can, I guess.
Yeah, yes and no, because from like if you have somebody like Ryan Hollinger, he does a lot of, he focuses mostly on horror, so he has one theme, but in that genre he can go to different types of media like games and movies and stuff like that. So yeah, so he has a really great foundation for what he wants to do. It's okay, he's doing horror, but of course horror can be in anything, so he can go and talk about whatever he wants. I think, or you have people like Nerdwriter who genuinely do talk about, I think, anything they really want to talk about. It's just in that instance it can get a little overwhelming because of the fact that my channel has so many different topics. I always have a tough time trying to find what to talk about.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, so some topics for like video essays that I see are so like absurd and far-fetched that I'm like, how the hell did they come up with this specific topic?
A lot of times people just kind of click, topics just kind of click with you. Like my Halo Reach, the body language of Halo Reach video that I did, that one came out of the fact that I was going through a Halo sort of binge session. I was just back into Halo. I loved every second of it. And Halo Reach was a game that it's not like I didn't like it, I just felt it wasn't as good as the rest. And there was just something about the characters that was really resonating with me that last playthrough that I did, where I kind of noticed that they weren't really saying much, but their body language was. You felt like they were a squad and they had different personalities because of how they moved and how those movements conveyed what they were talking about. And then bam, topic right there. So sometimes it's just a matter of letting yourself find the topic rather than forcing yourself to find the topic.
Yeah, I guess so. Or I'm sure, these bigger video essayists, I guess you can call them, I'm sure they get like suggestions from people, and they could probably take their suggestions if they like them and use them.
Oh yeah, one thing that I'm kind of envious of are gaming related channels, because when it comes to gaming, a lot of times they're focusing on how the mechanics work, and they're kind of analyzing how it works rather than what it's saying. So they can usually just get their fans to request a game and go into it and be like, okay, this is how this worked and this is how I felt about it. With me, on the other hand, I don't think I'm ever going to have a polling system. I might in the future if I ever decide to have people vote on what type of topics maybe I'm indecisive about or what they want to see. Because, if they request something like, a lot of people have been requesting that I talk about the Judas Contract movie now that I did my Teen Titans video. And I'm not going to lie, there's not much in that movie that I could really talk about. Like, I tried to fit it into my Teen Titans video. I really did, because that's what kind of gave me the spark to work on that video. But there's really not much that I can say about that movie that wouldn't just be repeating a lot of the elements from that video. So it's like, if I can't really go and do that, because then it just wouldn't feel authentic.
You can't force a video out.
Oh god, no. I've tried, it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it's the same with me, but like instead of a video essay, it's an interview. Like, I can't force myself to interview someone that I don't give a shit about, because that would be awful. That would just be horrible.
Yeah, if you go and interview somebody that you're not a fan of, it's just kind of like, well, it can get a little awkward.
Yeah, like there'll probably be no chemistry between us. It'll just be weird.
Yeah, and that's all that really matters, in all honesty, is kind of what you feel comfortable with doing, and your audience is either with it or they're not. And that's just something that I think, YouTube channels have really got to. Some YouTube channels, obviously, not all of them, have got to kind of understand, and myself included. Like, I got to tell myself all the time, it's like, look, you can take your time, don't force it, just go and make something. And especially after this last one that blew up, that I'm just kind of like, oh god, I gotta get something out fast.
Yeah, that must be worrying, because like whenever you have a blow up period, you just have to take advantage of it.
I had something similar happen with my Spider-Man 2 video. I think it's like 9 months ago. I released that one, and that one, for the time, that was, I think, my largest video, or my second largest. And then I took a 5-month break because I had started a new job. I was going through some new stuff, and I just couldn't get any topics into my head. And that video, which is, I think it's a Halo Reach one after that, was not as successful because I took such a long time that my subscribers didn't get any notifications until like well after or anything like that. So you always got to be on top of the ball, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's a thing where you can't rest on it.
No, you cannot. I wish you could, but the YouTube algorithm is basically like, hey, where's that next one? Where's that next one, man?
Exactly. Yeah, that's like sometimes I struggle with like finding people to interview, because there's like so many channels that I look at, and most of them I just do not give a single flying fuck about. So I have to skip it and then keep looking. I look at lists upon lists of like channels, and I sometimes find some, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I unfortunately don't, because like I guess, I try to find people whose content I genuinely would care about and do care about. Because, like I mentioned earlier, otherwise the interview's just going to be horrible. So, like, that's such a struggle because sometimes I go 2-3 weeks without an interview and I'm like, oh, fuck. Yikes. That's not good.
Yeah, definitely. And what's funny is that YouTube, I forgot how long ago this was, I think it was like a month or two ago, tweeted out like, hey guys, you can take a break. Like, don't worry, don't burn yourself out. And they rightfully got a ton of shit for that because everyone's like, what the fuck? You guys are the ones who put in a system that forces people to make content as fast as possible. You reward people that churn out, shit on a daily basis or even a weekly basis. And then you have the audacity to say, like, hey, guys, you could take a break.
Yeah, no, I saw that tweet. I remember that. Everyone, got so pissed at it. I mean, yeah, like you said, rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, I could be wrong, but from what I understand, the longer your video, your channel goes without a video, the less your video gets suggested on other people's content, and the less likely they are to see your notifications, even if you are subscribed, you should be getting the notification that the video comes out.
I'm not too certain about that, but if that's the case, Jesus Christ.
Dude, there's so much going on with the YouTube system in terms of people getting notified. That's why people are now going like, hey, remember to hit that bell button, because you're not getting notifications if you're subscribed to them. It's no longer enough to just be subscribed. You got to hit that bell button. But then the bell button apparently defaults to this sort of like
occasional notifications.
Occasional system. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you'll occasionally get the symptoms. Like, then why the fuck did I hit that bell button for? Like, it's ridiculous.
It is. It really is. I don't get it. Like, it should be a thing where like you subscribe and you get notifications. But if, like, you subscribed and you don't want to get notifications for whatever reason, you just, have an option to turn notifications off from that certain channel, and that's it.
Thank you. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me because, like, look, the subscribe button should just be you get notifications. You obviously like this person's content enough to want to see more. You subscribe, you're going to get more. And if you feel that, hey, they're starting to put out more content than I can catch up with, or for whatever reason you're getting too many notifications from the people you're subscribed to, because I get it. Like, if somebody's subscribed to, like, say 200 channels, you don't want to get 200 notifications, like, over the course of time.
Oh, God, no.
Exactly. So, of course, I get it. The system will always, basically put priority over one over the others. But there's got to be some sort of system where basically you subscribe, you get the notifications. If you don't, you tell the system not to. And I guess the bell button is there for that. But if they click the bell button to always get notifications, but it defaults to this sort of occasional system, then what's the point of the bell to begin with?
Exactly, yeah, like, what the hell is this occasional bullshit?
Yeah, I mean, at least if you're going to do occasional, which is what they're doing with the subscribe button, leave it like that. The subscribe button is, hey, you occasionally get notifications. And then the bell button should be automatically day one, moment it hits up, you get it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, for an example, I'm subscribed to about 500 plus channels. Obviously, I would not want to receive, 500 plus notifications.
Yeah, you don't want to receive, like, especially because a lot of people release on anywhere between Friday to Sunday. So you wouldn't want to get, like, say 200 notifications all throughout Friday to Sunday. That'd be insane.
No, yeah, that fucking would. So, like, that's why, YouTube should make a system, like I said, where, you subscribe, you get notifications, and then if you don't want notifications from that channel because you don't like it enough to want to receive every video in your notifications, then you just turn it off, and that's it.
Yeah, or if you're feeling annoyed, just unsubscribe and then resubscribe when you feel like it. It's just, one person, it's not gonna affect the algorithm too much from what I understand. But of course, I'm not running YouTube. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so I can only criticize.
Yeah, exactly. You're not Susan Wazowski.
Is that who runs it now?
Well, yeah, her name is Susan Wojcicki, but I like to call her Susan Wazowski. Next question for you here, Kevin, is why did you start YouTube? What got you into it?
I really got into YouTube because of the fact that, like I said, I started off in machinima and I started off doing some minor stuff, but I really wanted to actually get something done because I went to school for film. Like, I went to school to learn how to make short movies and, go into maybe even work in television or something. But it wasn't until about halfway through my college program when I kind of realized that it wasn't exactly for me. And by that point, I was already too far into it to quit. So from that point onwards, I've been kind of, I guess you could say, kind of stuck in this town that I'm living in now. And I wanted to keep up my editing work because, if you're not working on film projects, you're not working on editing or something, your skills deteriorate a bit, I guess you could say. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to work on this on the side. I'm going to, put on some videos here and there. And then it wasn't until 2017 that I decided, okay, I'm actually going to try and do something with this and try to make it something good. And finally now, after about a year and a half, I'm starting to see that hard work really start to showcase for itself, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like one of the guys that I interviewed said that, anyone that works really hard will eventually have their moment of fame. And I agree with that.
Yeah, the thing is, M. Matt Lucas, I think his name is. I'm sorry if I butchered that name or I mispronounced it or anything, but he's a great guy. When I had like maybe 300, 500 subs or something, he was still shouting me out and saying, my content's great and stuff. So he's been a great guy throughout this whole thing. And it's really, that's it. Like, you really do need a good support system if you're going to be going into YouTube and stuff, because if you don't have a good support system, you can sometimes really just fall off the bandwagon and just not go back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my parents both really support my YouTube stuff.
Oh, that's great, man. That's honestly great. Like, cause you really do need somebody there to tell you, like, hey, say a video didn't do so well compared to your last one, doesn't mean shit. It just means that this time the system didn't work in your favor. Go do it again. Make that shit a reality.
Exactly, yeah. The thing my friends always tell me is that my interviews are way too damn long, but that's because they all have like 5-second attention spans, like all millennials. And any channels before this one, Kevin, or is this your first ever YouTube channel?
This is, it's like my fourth channel, because like I said, Machinima days, I had one. Well, one was just kind of like, because YouTube was just starting, so everybody had a channel. So I had that one, and then I had one after that was for my Machinima content, and then I had one after that, which is the one before this one, that was for comedic video essays and some alternative stuff. Like I did a Destiny anime video that got pretty popular back in the day. I think Game Ranks talked about that one in like top 10 thing Destiny fans did or something. So that one was a pretty big hit, and it did I don't know if I can say this. It did like a shit post of the 2016 US election, but I'm not gonna go into that. Like that before my Teen Times video was like my highest viewed video to date. It's like 300,000 views. It was ridiculous. Yeah, I got pretty big on our mealtime videos or something. So, but again, I wasn't making consistent stuff, so it's not like it was growing my channel at all. And then this is my fourth one.
And Kevin, next question for you here is, how do you choose like a topic for a video essay?
Whatever can pop into my head. I try to have, I even wrote it down not too long ago. I wrote down like 35 to 40 different pieces of media that I could talk about. It's just an issue of what am I going to say about it, because when I made my Dragon Ball GT video back like almost a year ago, I had actually quit my job at Walgreens at the time, and so there was about a month and a half period, maybe 2 months I think, where I was unemployed. And if you actually see my timeline of videos during that time, that's when I released like one content after like another piece of content after another I think I got from my Dragon Ball video to my Spider-Man one. That's like five, 6 different videos within the span of 2 months. Um, and so that was really good. But then once I got my new job, obviously that slowed down, and now I can only really get a video every month and a half, maybe 2 months. And especially after this last one, I'm trying to be quicker about it, at least get it out maybe once a month. Um, but how I get my topic is mostly just I choose something that at the time I'm really interested in, or something that I feel that hasn't been talked about enough, and then see where it goes. Um, the A great example is my KOTOR 2 video, actually. Um, During that time, I was going through KOTOR 2, just playing it, and then I remember this clearly. I was like 1 in the morning to 12:30 in the morning, and then I just was like, oh, I got a great idea, and just ran over to my to my desktop and just started writing until about 3:30 in the morning, and that's where the first draft came in. Worked on it, got that video out in like a week later.
Damn. That was a quickie.
Yeah, and yeah, that was fast. But for the most part, it does take about a month, maybe a month and a half to 2 months for me to really come out with a new topic, because it is hard to really know what type of thing I want to say, because I'm not just reviewing a topic. I'm not I'm not talking about gameplay mechanics, or talking about how something works. I'm trying to see what it says about the characters and really analyze everything that they have to do, and that means going over the video tons and tons of time. And it's the fear of, am I saying enough, or am I just summarizing what this video is, what the story is? So it's more of a process of just, it pops in my head. If it works, we're golden. If not, I just have to spitball and see what I can find.
And is there any like particular genre that you most enjoy making video essays on?
I would say the ones that I enjoy talking about the most are probably games and TV. I don't do them too often. I think the only TV related ones were like Scrubs, Stranger Things, and Teen Titans. But for the most part, I grew up watching more TV and playing video games that I did watching movies. So those resonated with me a little bit more. So those are the ones that I feel I can talk about more, because with TV, usually they have at least 2 or 3 seasons, so you have a lot more to work with, and you can see how it progresses over the course of the show. And then with games, like I said, you can talk about gameplay mechanics. You can talk about how those mechanics influence the story, or how the story influences the mechanics, or how it does in terms of making the player feel satisfied with what they're playing with, anything like that. So there's usually a lot more to talk about with a game, in my personal opinion, than a TV or movie, because there's more avenues to talk about.
More variety.
Yeah, variety. There we go. That's a much better word. But for the most part, those are the ones I really do gravitate towards.
I know, I don't know why. It seems like I've seen a lot of Bojack Horseman video essays.
Yeah, I that's one show I have yet to get into. My friend tried to show me that when it first came out. But that's one that, from what I understand, is really hard hitting in terms of, people who suffer from like self-destructive habits and mental illness and stuff. So it's like, okay, not ready to go into that territory right now. It's like, it'll hit too close to home. So I'll that one I'm putting off to the side, but I have heard amazing things about Bojack Horseman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I used to think it was kind of like more of a funny show, but apparently it's pretty deep. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still comedic and funny from what I understand, but my God, I've seen some clips that just go like, whoo boy, that hits way too close.
Same with Rick and Morty, like I told you before we started. I only watched the pilot episode, and then I never watched it again.
Oh yeah, and there's some powerful moments in Rick and Morty, from every now and then. So I would suggest going through it. Just don't let the fan base, warp your perception of it. Just go through and see what you think.
Yeah, that's the thing that I tend to associate shows with their fan bases, and it really turns me off. Yeah, I mean, like My Little Pony is another great example. Like all the bronies and shit, those weird fucks. And Kevin, what got you into video essays?
I think we talked about this before we started, that they get sort of a bad reputation because people can see them as pretentious, or people trying to seem smart or spreading misinformation. And in regards to that last one, I'll just say nobody who makes a video essay actively looks to try and spread misinformation. And when somebody points out that they got something wrong, they hate it as much as you do. Like when I got some things wrong in some of my videos, and even my Teen Titans one, which some of those can be debatable, but I can see their point. It really does hurt like a ton of bricks, because like you put a lot of work into it to get the details right, and looks like you slipped up on one or two things, and then that's all people talk about. So, it's one of those things that I think video essays get a bad rep. But for the most part, why I do them is because I like talking about the content I grew up with or what I'm currently watching, and I want people to maybe see a different side of things. Like with the Teen Titans video, I really wanted people to understand how tragic a character Tara was, at least in the in the TV show, and understand, because some people, I think Lowart said this in his video series about it, some people had this negative idea of Tara because she's, she has all this self-conflicted issues about her that makes her a little annoying, I guess you could say. But at the same time, as somebody who does suffer from many of the same issues that she does, like that's why I gravitated towards her and why I liked her so much, because it is annoying. Like it is annoying to to get a little bit deep here, to not trust people and to have issues of self of insecurity that can cause a lot of relationships, romantically and platonically, to fall apart because of issues that you feel are justified. You think they're fine, but you think you have the right idea or the wrong idea, excuse me, and then everybody's telling you something else and you just don't listen. So I really wanted to let people know more about this character, and I'll have a lot of people in the comments saying like, wow, that really did resonate with me. And that's really why I like video essays, because it gets people to think about whether of something that they watched as they were growing up or they're currently watching, and think of it in a different light, because media is always subjective to a point. You could see a scene and you think it's about you think it's about one thing, but then somebody comes along and is like, hey, this is what I thought about it, and whether you agree or not, they're allowed to have that opinion, and you can maybe have some enjoyment out of that. And I think it's also because when I was in school, I did like, essays and stuff. I did like writing essays. I was just not very good at them. And also because of the topics that they force you to write weren't exactly the, most interesting. And I think that's something that really goes to show about this genre and a lot of content on YouTube. It's not the fact that people don't want to learn or they don't want to hear about something. It's just whether or not that topic is interesting or conveyed in an interesting way. Who the hell thought that, some video essay about, I don't know, like Spider-Man 2 or I don't know, I'm drawing a blank here, or Movies of Mike about Blade Runner 2049, like if you write that on paper and you give it to your teacher or something, yeah, they'll just grade and be like, oh, this was well done, congrats. It's like, oh, okay, great. But like do you really get any satisfaction of putting all that hard work into a topic that your teacher just goes and says A+, move on?
No, not really.
Exactly. Compared to, say, a video essay on YouTube where you put this time into it, you write out the script, you put the visuals to it to make it resonate, you put good music to it, and you narrate it, and then you put it out there, and people are able to see a completely new side of something that they didn't even think about. That's what's so endearing about video essays to me. And I think, maybe video essays should be something that schools should experiment with. Like, tell kids, like, maybe, have like a month or so and be like, hey, here's a video essay about this sort of topic, because I think they might be more interested in that than just being told to write down what they think about X and Y topic.
Yeah, that would be much cooler for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you said you're 16, so you're still in high school, right?
Yeah, but I'm a homeschool student.
Okay. But, I think you would probably agree with me maybe that if you were, in a public school or private school or whatever, that if you were told to watch a video essay on, say, World War II or something, that you would find that way more interesting, or even make one if you want to, way more interesting than just being told about it in a classroom where you're forced to sit down for like an hour or two.
Yeah, no, for sure. That would be much more entertaining, I guess. Even though World War II isn't probably the most entertaining topic to listen to.
That's where you're wrong, my friend. That's me coming from like loving World War II history back in school, so that's just my own bias.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never really been that big on history, so yeah.
Yeah, go watch some video essays on history, and there you go.
Yeah, I could watch that guy that makes those history videos. What's his name? Alternate History Hub.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I think my brother watches him quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, him. I don't watch him, but I know of him. I know he's a popular history YouTuber.
But yeah, that's pretty much why I make them. Just try to get people to look at something in a different way, and maybe it'll help them in some way or another.
Yeah, just giving deeper meaning to media. Yeah, and Kevin, how long do your video essays on average take? What's the longest part of the whole process?
It's a time between the writing process and the concept process, because once I get an idea down, once I get those scripts done, I can just start working on it and editing it, and it'll be easy peasy. Like it'll just take a while to do it because editing takes a while. But that's what I genuinely love doing, so I don't mind it taking a couple weeks or so to do it. But the concept phase and the writing part of it takes a long time for me, because like I said, it takes me a while to come up with anything. So on average, I'd say it takes me about a month or two to really get something from the concept phase all the way out to getting it out the door. So I'd say about a month or two.
All right. And the shortest part of the process?
The recording phase. Like, it takes... Anybody will say that, the recording part of it is annoying, because it is. But in comparison to everything else that you have to do, the recording part of it is probably what takes the shortest for most people, including myself. It's just like a good 30 minutes, maybe an hour or so. Maybe longer if it's a really hefty subject. But for the most part, it usually takes about no less than like 2 hours to get that done. And then you can just start working on it. The longest part, though, in terms of like overall, is in terms of the editing phase. Like, once you get editing, the longest part is audio editing. That takes forever and is annoying.
Oh yeah, you fucking bet. I would know.
Yeah. Your thing is primarily just audio, so it's like, yeah, I think you totally understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a living nightmare just listening to the same damn thing over and over and over again until you get it right.
Yep, but what are you gonna do?
That's why when someone says like, "Oh, we can live stream an interview," I'm like, "Oh, God bless you," because it's just so nice and easy. I don't have to go into Premiere and do all that audio editing, but. I don't mind it. Sometimes I like it because, I get editing practice and all that. And from all the video essays you've made so far, Kevin, which has been your favorite and least favorite to make?
My favorite, it's going to be kind of obvious, but it is my Teen Titans one. In all honesty, it is my best video that I think I've made. The editing, the music, and the writing and the narration all really came together for that one. And so while it is shocking how much it blew up, I think we talked about this earlier, it's not that surprising that it did. It's just surprising how much it did. Yeah, so that one, before that one, I was actually really proud of my Spider-Man 2 video, and my Dragon Ball GT one. That one was more of just the fact that I was able to make a nearly 30-minute video, and just the fact that I did make one. So that one, I'm just more proud that I did it. But before my Teen Titans one, I'd say my Spider-Man 2 one was my favorite. Maybe my Scrubs one. Um, but my least favorite, oof, it's got to be a tie between my Bill Burr video and my Resident Evil 7 video. With the Resident Evil 7 one, the topic is fine and the points I made are fine. I just came off really antagonistic in that video, I guess. It it feels more like just some random guy shouting about something rather than being like analytical about it. So that one is, I wouldn't say embarrassing, just kind of like I could take it or leave it. It was off my channel. It's like my lowest viewed video, besides my first two, because that's before I revamped the channel a bit. So, out of my newer ones, yeah, that's one that I'm like, I could probably unlist it and people wouldn't care. My Bill Burr one, that one I'm genuinely embarrassed about. Like, that one, I rewatched it not too long ago, and so it's not as bad as I remember it being, but it was just, it's definitely my messiest one, I think. It's one where, I tried to break down a comedic sketch, and I was still using this VHS effect for like pausing and stopping, and it's just messy, and the points I made are fine, but my narration wasn't good, and I made like a comparison between Bill Burr using his microphone, using like the Doppler effect. It's one that I just kind of go like, I'll leave it on my channel as a reminder, like not to do that. And also because that's like 12,000 views, so I'm like, hey, people like it, I guess, but keep that one away from me. I don't want to look at it.
Do you watch H3H3 by any chance?
I used to. From what I understand, they changed up their format from the reaction videos to like some podcast thing, so I just stopped watching around that point.
Oh, okay, because they did a podcast with Bill Burr, and it's so embarrassing.
I did hear about that, and I just didn't want to watch it because, people who aren't familiar with Bill Burr know that he just kind of derails conversations like I do. And he takes over the conversation, basically. So if you're not prepared for that, the interview is going to be really awkward. So I'm guessing that's probably what happened.
I don't know. They just said there, I didn't watch it either. People just said there was no chemistry between the two of them, and they kept cutting each other off and all that. Yeah, there was this one clip floating around where Ethan, I don't know what Bill said about his daughter, but Ethan's like, "You really love your daughter, don't you?" And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously, I would hope he loves his daughter. It's his daughter. Yeah, I mean, like any good parent is gonna, fucking love their children. I mean, I don't know why he said that. I guess he was just at a loss for what to say, so he just said that just to say it.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like if you don't have the chemistry in the interview, it's not gonna go well.
And well, Kevin, next question for you here is: how about from all the video essays you've made, which has been your biggest project and smallest project? I think you mentioned Teen Titans was the biggest one.
Yeah, the Teen Titans one. Well, I guess it's my biggest one. At least it's the one that took the most amount of fine details for. Like the one where I decided, okay, I'm gonna put a lot of effort into making sure like the music is timed up with this, or that the transitions look really nice and stuff like that. I think my biggest project is actually my Dragon Ball video, because like I said, that's like almost 30 minutes long and required a good amount of research into the history of the show and the quotes from different producers from like back in the day, like 2010 or something like that. So that one did require quite a bit of work. But my Teen Titans one is second to that, I think. The other ones are more of just general overviews of the topic I'm talking about, rather than the GT and Teen Titans one, which are like really specific, and I had to go get quotes from like, you know, people who worked on it, stuff like that. I would have to say my Ruby Sparks video is actually probably the shortest one. That one came together pretty well, in all honesty. I wish I can go back and remake that one. I mean, I could, but I'm not sure if I would do it. But for the most part, that one came together pretty damn well. Like, that one was quick, easy to do, and was out the door without feeling forced or unnecessary.
So for the rest of the year with your channel, what new and different things you plan on doing, if any?
For the most part, the channel is going to remain more or less the same. It's going to be content, you know, analytical content, and seeing what I can come up with. But I really do have to work on the upload schedule, basically. And that's why I really want this channel to do well, and maybe become at least a part-time job. Because if I can make it a part-time job at the very least, that means I can focus on it a bit more. Maybe even quit my job I am now if I can. Or at least work at a job where I have a little bit more flexibility, I guess you could say. And then see where it goes from there. Because I've actually kind of set a timetable for myself. I said to myself, if nothing happens with this YouTube channel in terms of making it at least a part-time to full-time job within the next 2 years, I'm done. Like, I'm just gonna go into a trade school and try to earn money, because to be a little frank, I'm not exactly racking in the dough. So so, you know, it's I'm doing this and I'm taking a risk on it. Basically, I am putting some time into it. I'm not working at a full-time job right now because of the fact that I want to have the time to work on this. So I've said to myself, if I don't have a substantial channel that can at least maybe net me some revenue, I guess you could say, by like 2021, I'm out. So 2021 is my cutoff date. If I don't have anything substantial in terms of making this a full-time job by then, I will have said thank you very much for the support. But by that time, if I don't get anything within 2 years, because obviously I'm almost 2 years into this now, so obviously it does take time. But now that I've gotten a bit of traction, now it's more of a, I know I have a shot, basically. I know I have a shot to get something done.
Yeah, it's just all about, you know, taking advantage of that shot you've been given.
Exactly. So now it's less, hey, you know, let's see if something can happen. Now it's, okay, something can happen. It's just, can I make it happen?
I mean, best of luck with that, man. I'm sure you can accomplish your goal.
Oh, thank you, man. Like, I really don't want to have to quit on the channel because I love it. I do love making this content, and if anybody hears this, thank you so much for the support that this channel is, you know, for all the support, basically. You know, honestly, this channel wouldn't have gotten to the point it is now if it wasn't for some of the best people that I've met making this. And I really hope that everybody enjoys what I have to offer in the future. I hope that my last one wasn't, you know, the peak of what my channel can come to. I hope that people, you know, go into my content expecting a variety of stuff and not just super emotional stuff. So I just hope that I can make something out of this. And if not, I had a great run, but I hope that doesn't come to that.
Yeah, well, man. Well, you know, like I said, best of luck. And well, I mean, you know, you do have a bit of a platform built up now, so, you know, I guess if you have another video do as well as your Teen Titans one, I'm sure that'll be another blow up for your channel.
I hope so. The topic that I'm going to be talking about now, I've actually looked it up. I don't think anybody's really talked about it. So, and it's a show that people will remember. It was pretty popular. I can't say what it is, obviously, but it was pretty popular back in the mid 2000s, and I think it could do another blow up. Not to the extent of Teen Titans, but at least a good amount. So, but it really depends on how much I get right about it and how much work it's going to be put into it. So if I don't release anything this month, at least by the beginning of next month, so that'd be by like, no, sorry. I meant more like because we're near the middle of October. So I'd say like near the end of November at the very latest.
Yeah, because like the thing is when like someone isn't talking about it, it could be a hit or miss, I guess.
Yeah. So I hope it's a hit. I hope people understand where I'm coming from with this one, and that they understand the time it took to make it, because it does require, like I said, 4 seasons worth of watching and taking notes. So hopefully people will enjoy it. I have thought about splitting it into multiple parts, but I think it might be better to just do one long video and condense some information rather than making it like a huge retrospective. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, sounds good, Kevin. Besides that, that's it for the interview. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Oh no, thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, no problem, man. I had fun too. But yeah, that's it for the interview, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, you can go ahead and drop a like, drop me a sub. Anything you could do to help would be appreciated. Otherwise, I'll see you next one. Take care, and goodbye.